Good morning, members of the media, and thank you for joining us here this morning. As you are probably aware, this morning, the Minister of Community, Culture and Sports, my honorable colleague Patricia Gordon-Pamplin, tabled the Civil Union Bill 2016 for consultation in the House of Assembly. The aim of tabling this draft legislation is so that we can have the widest possible discussion and consultation on this matter, not just with our parliamentary colleagues on both sides of the aisle, but with the broader public. You also heard the minister highlight that the issue of same-sex marriage and civil unions is at the forefront of our national conversation, because today the Supreme Court ruling regarding the Bermuda Bread Company versus the Minister of Home Affairs and the Attorney General takes effect. The landmark ruling means that non-Bermudian same-sex partners of Bermudians who are in permanent relationships are entitled to live and work in Bermuda free of immigration control. I think it's very important to mention that prior to that Supreme Court ruling, government has sought to do its due diligence to review and to access the issue of same-sex unions by engaging in a very intensive consultative process. And this included a series of public information sessions, the sharing of extensive research with the public on how other jurisdictions have sought to approach and reconcile this matter, outlining Bermuda's international legal responsibility, the proposed way that the Bermuda government could implement and manage civil unions, and meeting with advocacy groups and individuals for and against same-sex marriage and civil unions, all with the aim of listening to all sectors of the community on this very sensitive matter. And my colleagues and I have been tremendously appreciative with all the feedback that we have received. That said, as directed by the Supreme Court ruling, the government is required to recognize same-sex couples in a permanent relationship. This government believes in upholding fundamental and basic human rights. As such, government has an obligation to bring the matter of same-sex unions to a resolution. And in order to get the widest possible reach of views from the people, it is the intention of the government to table a referendum bill on the matter later in this legislative session. What has been made evidently clear through this entire process is that there are varying views on the issue of same-sex marriage and civil unions in Parliament and indeed throughout our community. Recognizing that this is a very complex and difficult issue for many in the community, we are committed to extending the consultative process so that the people of this country can express their opinions on same-sex marriage and civil unions via a referendum. As a final and very important point, this government is of the view that marriage is a union between a man and a woman, which is why we have tabled in the House the Matrimonial Causes Amendment Act 2016, which will strengthen that act. And as I close, I recognize that there is an incredible passion and emotion about same-sex unions. I want to personally take this opportunity to say thank you. Thank you to everyone in allowing us to do the considerable soul-searching and reflection regarding this issue. I want to thank each and every person who has called, written, or stopped me and my colleagues on the street to share your views on this matter. Thank you for sharing your stories, your views, and your heartfelt experiences. As a government, we have tried to approach this issue with sincerity, compassion, empathy, and sensitivity. Government always has a responsibility to make the best decisions for the benefit and betterment of this country and its people. And we recognize that in doing so on matters of critical and national significance such as same-sex unions, we must continue to seek and incorporate as much feedback and input from the public as possible. The Human Rights Commission has a very important responsibility to undertake. The minister with some appointment rights of the Human Rights Commission is the Minister Pat here. And we applaud them for the work that we have to do. One thing I will say, Brian, in regards to this whole matter, we like people to speak up. in the appropriate tone on this matter, because if we do, in every matter, we'll find the best resolution. This morning, before the minister gave her statement in the House, and before this press conference today, we met with the Human Rights Commission, and we informed them of our direction and the need to work together to get the most appropriate result for the people of Bermuda. Because when it comes down to it, it's all about protecting and promoting human rights, and this government supports that 100%. We reached that position because it was appropriate to continue to allow some more understanding and consult on this issue, and to allow people to express themselves in an appropriate way so we can make the appropriate decisions going forward. You know, the referendum will gauge the views of the people of this country, but at the end of the day, if we do nothing on this matter, the courts will decide. And I think everyone in Bermuda would appreciate the opportunity for their input and then their members of parliament to decide. The courts are an appropriate way for people to take any grievances they might have. We think that people of Bermuda can be mature enough about these rights issues and have a referendum and then come forward and support the best approach to dealing with this. And we believe it's the Civil Union Bill, which we've tabled for people to review through this process.
I believe that what the people who are interested in that side of the issue have determined is that if they can see that there is some determination on behalf of the government to pursue this matter to come to an amicable conclusion, then I think they may be satisfied and they may be able to wait out the process that has now just been announced. So I think that we should be okay in that regard.
One other comment that I will make that I think is important in this situation, the entire government team supports this approach. And we believe with that support, we can go out in the community and continue this process so the people of Bermuda can have their views expressed, and then we can move it forward to the proper resolution.
Let me just say that some of the opposition to the issue of civil unions had been expressed sight unseen of the bill. In order to be able to educate people what the bill contains, it is necessary to have it tabled. It is necessary to give people the opportunity to read through it, to evaluate the points with which they might agree, the points with which they may disagree, and for us to continue to have the necessary dialogue. That is part of the process. I don't believe that it would be appropriate to just table a referendum and then go off still with people not knowing what the details are of a civil union bill. So I think it was important to table it for as wide a consultation as possible. Actually, it's papers and communications to the House, so it was not the introduction for a first reading. It was papers and communications, so it won't actually stay on the order paper as such. It is there, it has been tabled, it has been laid down for consultation, and that consultation process will continue. It may not appear, just because I'm not 100% certain, I don't believe it will appear on continued House agenda. Let me just say that from our perspective, there are times in government that one has to look at what the appropriate approach is towards our community. And there are times when you have to swallow whatever the outcome is. If we did everything because of votes that we are likely to get, this country would absolutely stagnate. We cannot consider matters that are of this level of importance and use as a gauge whether or not we're going to lose votes. We may lose some, and if that's the outcome, that is the outcome. We are interested in educating the public and looking at the best possible manner in which we can provide for what the courts have determined we need to provide, and that is a way forward for same-sex couples to be able to enjoy the right to family life.
Basically, if you want to break it down, there's two options here. Because the community seems to be still trying to get to a grasp on the best approach, is that we do nothing and allow the courts to rule. The second option is to put this bill there for all the people to see, have a referendum to gauge views, and in interim between the bill being passed and the referendum date be set, that we can have a process where people understand what the bill means so they can make an informed decision on that day. We're always bounded by the courts, but legislation will ensure that you don't have to deal with that in courts.